other day. All right, let's get started. Hello, how are you guys doing tonight? Here's a question. Here's a question we get all the time. What is a personal brand? Actually, what is a brand, right? Is it a logo? Is it your slogan? Is it your tagline? But what does that mean for you as an individual? What is that word or idea that you need to kind of put out there in the marketplace that will define you as a personal brand? We're going to find that out tonight. But before that, do a little message real quick. Well, good evening. How are you guys doing tonight? As you guys know, I am Steve Worthy. I am CEO of Worthy RETAILU, but I am also the host of Retail Leadership with Steve Worthy, the live stream podcast, and also the audio podcast. So tonight, obviously, we are live streaming, and I got to tell you, when I started this idea, this journey of doing live streams, when I started this journey of really focusing on retail leaders, there was honestly one person that I wanted in particular to be on my podcast. So guess what? I got her on my podcast, which is awesome. Now I actually have her on my live stream, and we're going to be talking a little bit more about who she is and what she can give you from a personal brand standpoint. But before that, let's talk a little bit about some upcoming events. Tonight, we have the one and only Cher Jones. She has a dope name, first of all, right? And we're going to talk about how to create and leverage your personal brand. And we're going to talk more about her. I'm going to dote on her tonight. So I'm just want to move forward because we have a lot of stuff that I want to get to with her tonight. So I'm going to try my best to move through some of this stuff. One of the things that I have the pleasure of being a VIP speaker at is at the Content Creators University Conference. And just to give you a little taste of what that conference is, we'll talk a little bit about that right now. So a little while ago, I had the pleasure of being on JP High Tech's show, and we talked about entrepreneurship, and we talked about imposter syndrome, and we talked about personal development, leadership, just something that I am extremely a massive fan of, and part of our brand that we talk about. So he approached me and said, "Steve, hey, we're putting together this conference, and I want you to be a part of it." I'm telling you what, I almost screamed like a little girl when he asked me to be a part of this, because I am a great fan of everything that he's putting together. But here's the cool part. Look at this lineup of people that we have in the live stream community. So many different people: Charles Jackson, JP High Tech, Kaylee Dunn, and Angelica Prather, right? We have a slew of different people. The cool part is that they have so many different backgrounds that we're going to be talking about from a content creator standpoint. And here's the reason why I'm super flattered, because for so long, I've never really thought of myself as a content creator. But one of the things I realized was that if I'm putting something out here, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on IG, whether I'm live streaming, I am actually creating content. And so I shied away from that monicum for a while, but JP said, "Hey, you need to go ahead and focus in on that, and you need to own it." And so that's what we're going to be doing. I'm going to be owning this idea of me, little Steve Worthy, being a content creator, because later on, when I introduce our guests, we're going to be talking to her, who's an amazing content creator, but she's going to tell you how to create content for yourself so that you can understand how to create and leverage your personal brand. I also have coming up on September the 13th, Monique Russell. We are going to be talking about clear communication. She is actually the CEO of Clear Communication. So we're going to be delving in a little deeper around around your personal communication, verbal, but also nonverbal cues. Yeah, that's still a thing. Even though we're in the Zoom world, your nonverbal cues are extremely important. So we'll talk about that as well. September the 8th, I am going to be launching a Lunch and Learn live stream on LinkedIn. I'm pretty stoked about this, where now we focus in on retail leadership, right? In the live streams, and we talk about different disciplines and how they can impact you as a leader. What we are going to be doing with this live stream, we are going to be really laser focused in on retail leaders and really specific things that they struggle with and that they actually have to go through. So I'm actually excited about that. We already have about 5 guests lined up as well for this. So more information for that to come as well. And then, as you guys know, every Friday we do a community takeover with people in the community where you guys can just jump on a live stream with me, and we can talk about anything that's on your mind, anything that you're dealing with personally or professionally. And then the cool part is that we also have the community kind of jump in, and then they can provide content, they can provide feedback for you, or different stories and experiences that they have gone through to help you out as well. A couple of previous guests that we had, Tawana, of course, was last week, which was awesome. My buddy, here's the guy. If you haven't subscribed to his YouTube channel yet, or even kind of connected with him on LinkedIn, Paul Norford, you're doing yourself a disservice. This guy, I try to talk to people before they blow up so that they remember me when they blow up, and I can just ride in their coattails. Paul Norford is going to be a name that you want to remember right now. We talked about how to learn how to fail, and fail stands for first attempt in learning. So make sure you go back and take a listen to that stream as well. And then of course we talked to Miss Anita, and we got some lessons learned from an intern to a professional. What can interns teach a professional? So go back and make sure you listen to that one as well too. We are streaming on all these 3 different platforms: Facebook, LinkedIn, and also YouTube. And of course, we are using an amazing software platform called Ecamm. So all the information that you want is going to be in the content below. If you want to talk about Ecamm, we can talk about that. But more importantly, you can look us up at Steve Worthy or Worthy RETAILU on any one of these platforms right now. And you can also go ahead and subscribe to us. All right, dudes. Okay, here we go. So as I was trying to figure out how to kind of position my brand, this was when I was with Worthy RETAILU, when I was trying to do that, I was searching for somebody who could actually help me and guide me in the right direction of understanding what a brand was. So I came across this Canadian. Yeah, she's Canadian. I'm going to mess with her because she's Canadian. I came across this young lady, and she had the most energy that I've ever seen on LinkedIn, right? A lot of people on LinkedIn don't have a lot of energy. She was on LinkedIn with all of this energy talking about personal brand and scroll stopping and, just ask Cher, and what's wrong with your personal brand? If you don't know, let me tell you about it. And I just got captivated by and listening to her talk about personal brand. But here's the other cool part about it that I learned about it, is that we have this, and we're going to talk about this tonight. We have a mutual love for, I don't know, we're going to call it classic hip hop because it's not old school. It's classic hip hop. And we're going to talk a little bit about that and how that also fits into her personal brand. She's also a brand strategist. I'm going to let her talk a little bit more about herself because I'm going to continue to dote on her as we kind of go through the night. But please give her a round of applause for Cher Jones.
Yes, I love the air horn entrance. That's the best way to make an entrance. So thank you guys so much. This is exciting. I'm so glad to be on your show today.
I'm stoked. I'm excited. Oh, we got a whole bunch of people going on here. There we go. I always got to do this one. I like doing this live though. This is okay. Here we go.
That's right, right. Let's go.
Let's
That's right.
go. Let's
Robert
go.
Kennedy the third.
That's right.
That's right.
That he is properly known as RK3.
RK3. All right.
RK3.
Done and done.
Yeah.
James
Oh, my
Hicks,
man.
what up? That's
What up,
what I'm
James
talking
Hicks?
about.
Here we go. All right, Mr. Coffee Talking Tech. Hello, my friend. How are you doing? All
Hello.
right. Excellent. And then RK3. This is all. Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Well, thank you.
I
You know.
agree.
Oh, I
I agree.
appreciate it. I appreciate it. And then he says hello.
Why, hello there.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So, um, there's so many roads that I want to go down, but
Mm,
we'll talk about the personal brand things and how to kind of create that stuff because I want to kind of build up to that a little bit. But I
mm.
want really people to understand a little bit more about who you are and how you came to be. Because honestly, I think you're almost kind of like, other than the fact that your name is Cher, but then you have Cher Jones. It's almost like one word. Kind of like Michael and Cher. It's like Cher Jones. I put it together, so it's almost like one word to me. But
I
how did
receive
you
that.
become like Cher Jones in this personal brand strategist that people have come to love to hear and get information from?
Well, it's funny you ask that because it's like anybody else. They have a long, roundabout story that when you eventually connect the dots, you figure all this stuff out and you step into your purpose. And for me, I started my career in broadcast journalism. I used to work in sports broadcasting, and then we're talking like 20 years ago. I know, insane but true. And was a pre and post game show producer for the Raptors, and that was really fun and awesome. But when you have a young and growing family, working sports, especially the basketball season, nights and weekends, it's not gonna be able to do. It's just so hard to do. And so I had to make decisions. That was a hard decision because at that point my identity was wrapped up into, I was this girl
Mm,
working a job that any guy worth their salt would want to have, and I had it.
yeah.
And I was doing well at it, and it was just like, this is not working. So I shifted. I took my journalism after, I took my journalism studies and then moved into marketing and communication. Always had a little TV thing on the side because I love TV. I love broadcasting. And I never did on air stuff in my sports career, but it was all, as an associate producer. But, anyways, moved into marketing and copywriting and then evolved those skills into corporate communications and PR.
Hmm.
And then and this is, we're talking, so like, let's put some dates on it to
Uh-oh. Go
really
ahead.
make it legit, right? Proof of life, proof of social, proof of experience, proof of awesome. So we're talking, that was from, let's say, 2000 to around 2013. So my last job was working corporate communications and PR for the city of Toronto, writing speeches for the mayor, councillors, developing communication strategies and all that stuff. And then, I've always been social. I've always been leveraging technology, these platforms. I'm talking like ICQ, I went way back,
Yeah, you did.
MSN Messenger. That was a thing, right? Even leveraging Google Hangouts on air. That was like the old school live broadcasting, did all that. And one of the things that I was able to shift into, as I noticed that throughout the years, I was reinventing. And I
Mm,
wasn't really reinventing, I was evolving. And I think that's what we as professionals, especially established professionals who've been in the game 20 years and more, you got to take a look and take stock at what you've done
mm,
and how that has created who you are today. And that's
mm.
part of your brand because that informs how you do things. So no matter how many people have the exact same title as you, because let me tell you, there are 1,000, a million personal branding experts, coaches, but how do you differentiate? A lot of that time is, what do you tap into to deliver what it is you say you do? And can
Mm,
you do it? So for me, I tap into my journalism skills, my broadcasting skills, marketing and copywriting, and then corporate communications and PR. So I'm this well-rounded communications machine who literally has a love of technology hardwired into my DNA.
yeah, you do.
And so I've always been, before content creator was like a thing, I've been creating content. So I used, I did my first talk on personal branding
Hmm.
to connect our love for hip hop. It's Googleable, it's somewhere on YouTube. It's called, and this was back when the song was hot, 2013, 99 Problems, but my brand ain't one.
I
And what I
remember.
did,
I researched that actually. I went back and I actually looked at that video. I'm sorry, but go ahead.
I'm telling you, but that's like, okay, that's my proof of awesome right there. Like I've
Yes.
been talking about this. I didn't just wake up like this and say, I'm gonna be a personal branding expert, right? I've been doing this. I got the scars to prove it. Anyways, so I use Jay-Z lyrics to walk you through the power of developing a brand. And lo and behold, and that wasn't even a talk that I wanted to do because at that time I had left my corporate communications job to be
Mhm.
a social media trainer, right? And it was a little too early if you ask me. If I look back and I'm like 2013, we weren't like this now. 2017 is when Facebook started to really pop off with Facebook pages and all that kind of stuff where people can get like 15,000 followers like that and all that kind of stuff and actual views to match the followers on Facebook. Obviously we don't do that anymore, but bottom line is I have been, you have to iterate to innovate. And I think that's everyone's brand story in itself. How
Mm,
have you iterated over this time? And then how do you tell that story? So, long story short, leveraged all these different communications disciplines to really help other people recognize and own what makes them awesome, master their message, and develop a professional, credible, and irresistible brand, a digital presence online, so that
mm,
they no longer wait for the tap. Because right now, what I've been doing is focusing on leaders in large organizations who are, they're high potential. They've been noticed. They're maybe even in some leadership training programs, but they don't even have the language to talk about themselves. And if you don't have that language, how's somebody else going to talk about you when you're not in the room?
mm. Oh my gosh, you just had
Mm.
so much there for me to unpack.
Bars,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, yeah, you have
Personal
you
branding
you
bars.
have you have personal branding bars for days, bars for days. Hey JP, he says hello, family. How are you doing, sir? How are you doing, sir? Oh yeah, listen to me. RK3, we gonna talk about that cassette tape in the back, and they're here in a second in her scene because we're gonna talk all about all the little pieces that make share. So believe me, I'm gonna touch upon all of those different things as well. And then shout outs to
Yes,
that.
iconic. That I'm
That's
telling you,
it.
that's where I got this, right? And it
Exactly.
says, pause if you must, just don't stop. And
That's
that's
it.
the thing. When I saw that, I'm like, I'm buying that. That is my new motto in life because it's okay to take a pause, especially in this digital first world where we're expected to show up all the time. And no, you don't have to show up as much as you think you do. But as long as you have your message, but we'll talk about that later.
Oh,
But at the end of the day, you need to learn how to pause when you need to. Just
that's
don't
right.
stop.
That's it. I love Cher's personality. Of course, absolutely, man. Me too. Me too. And exactly right. I think that's the one thing that, and we'll talk about that here in a second because I'm going to save that question because what JP's talking about is exactly my next question as well. Iterate to innovate. Love that. Love that.
Mhm.
100%. 100%. You know, one of the things, Cher, that I think always for me kind of came across was your authenticity. You know, and one of the things we say at Worthy Retail You, like authenticity has no competition. And how are you able, how have you been able to separate yourself? Because I honestly feel that you have been able to separate yourself from all the other people, all the other noise out there, from people talking about personal brands and different things like that. How do you feel you've been able to kind of separate yourself to kind of carve out this just ask share, type of mentality and allow and having people kind of just delve into that mindset of like, hey, you know what? Let me just ask share about this and not ask anybody else. How have you been able to do that?
I think one of the ways that I've been able to do it is, of course, I show up like I show up, right? I am who I am, unapologetically me, because the world is too big to have to worry about trying to get everybody to work with you, right? There are people, it's not everybody loves this share. I know, crazy, shocking, but it's true. And that's okay. But what I want to do is because I get energy from the people I work with. When we are collaborating for their success, it like you see this energy, this is who I am. So you can't mask it, and this might be too much for somebody, and I get that, and it's okay. And so what I would say is, we're all told, and this is not like social media, this is social media 101 here, is like when you're putting content out there, serve people,
Mm,
yes, and that's number one, but that's not really what's going to differentiate you. Your ability to differentiate through your content is the depth and the speed in which you're able to go deep and quickly apply your knowledge to that person you're talking to or to the focus of the content. And
Mm,
that's where I believe my perspective, especially because I take personal branding from a communications perspective. So
sure.
I'm not leveraging it because I was social and because I have a million followers on Instagram, which I don't. I am doing this because I'm leveraging it, and it's rooted in its foundation of communications strategy, planning, broadcasting, and market. Like I'm pulling from all those
Yeah.
disciplines,
Yeah.
and so that for me makes me different.
So you remember that we were on you were on the Super MC show, right? And I don't know if they played that one song, but it was by that group or was it Unorganized Confusion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or
Mm-hmm.
Disorganized
Yeah,
Confusion.
disorganized confusion. Yep.
Disorganized Confusion. When I listen to you, I feel like there's an intentionality, but it's organized, but it's also almost kind of like not organized on purpose because you don't want to put yourself into a box. Am I
Mm-hmm.
wrong in saying that? Because I feel like that's
Absolutely.
part of it.
I think you nailed it. Because I have a lot of energy, right? So it's hard to harness this energy. I'm gonna be honest, right? Like this is, like I said, what you see right now, what you see, like who you see right now, is that's exactly what you get. This is my energy, and so I can't, just like if someone asks me a question, I can't hold back. I'll give you what I know. I'm just like, it's like, because where's it going to stay up here? No, there's too much stuff already going on up here that I can't. So I just give it away. So yes, there is a lot of organized confusion, if you will, in
Hmm.
the sense of how I want to help, and it's really it's rooted in my desire to help and serve and share what I know, because I can pull from so many different areas to do so.
Excellent. All right, so we got to talk about our mutual love, our mutual
Hmm.
love and admiration for hip hop,
Yeah.
because I honestly feel like that you are unapologetically like a hip hop head, and every time I see you posting something, it's about whether it's something new that you've done in your office, or it's the iconic poster that you have.
Hmm.
How have
Hmm.
you? Because here's the other thing. I think a lot of people are afraid to allow that side of themselves to come out because they feel like, oh my gosh, it's unprofessional. Well, Public
Yeah.
Enemy, what are you talking about? What? Oh my gosh, no, I don't want that to be part of my part of my brand. But once again, it is part of who you are. First question, I got a whole bunch of them, but first question, where did this love of hip hop come? Because I want people to understand that, because I think there's something that a lot of us haven't tapped into, but
Hmm.
you have tapped into it from your past.
Yeah, no, my love of hip hop existed from hip hop was born, literally, because I was born in the 70s, right? This is something that I've always listened to. I remember, way back in the 80s when my dad, who's from Jamaica, he's like, this hippity hop business, and it's a fad. This rapping business is a fad. And I'm like, no, dad, it's not. It's not. It's gonna be awesome. And especially in Toronto in the 80s, I mean, 80s and early 90s, you could only access, there was no internet, right? So you
Right.
could only access hip hop on college radio, right? So and then I remember when we got our first, like we have Much Music, which is similar to MTV. And I remember we got our first rap music show, would come on once a week, and it was called Rap City.
Oh
And
yeah.
I was,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. And Michael Williams was the host, and you could tell he did not love hip hop, but he was the one black guy working at the station. So sorry, Michael, it's your job too. And I was so mad, and I'm sure he likes hip hop now. I'm not trying to defame him or anything like
That's
that,
all right.
but
That's all
I
right.
didn't feel it because he was a rocker. You could tell he was like
Yeah.
a black rocker, and that was his thing, right? And he's doing the show because you're the black guy. But I was like, I want to host. I want to be the first female host of Rhapsody, right? And that was my thing. I
Oh
really wanted to do that. And I mean, I loved hip hop from Run DMC, from like Beastie Boys, from like I was about to say Fresh Prince of Bel Air,
yeah.
DJ Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince, right?
Yes.
Like way back in the days.
Oh yeah.
And it's just been something that's followed me. And I just like, I got a song for that. Like anything, there's probably it's like someone says something, I have to control
Yes. Yes.
my inside voice that is you said something that triggered a lyric. And in my
Exactly.
head, it's rolling, and I gotta shut up, shut up, Cher, shut up, Cher. It's not the time, it's not the place.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, like, how long? Because I stumbled upon, and hopefully he's listening, or he'll chime in here if he is. Super MC, Mr. John and Vic, but
Mhm.
I stumbled upon their YouTube channel. I was I was coming home from work, and I was like looking at like old hip hop music or something like that while I'm in my office, just organizing stuff. And then the Super
Mhm.
MC came up. Oh, what is this? Then I saw it, and I listened to it a couple Saturdays. Then one Saturday, I come in and I look, I'm like, there's Cher Jones. Cher Jones is on Super MC. Super MC. I was like that movie, I think I even said it, right? The movie Elf, where I was like, he's like, Santa! Like, I know him. I think I even put that in there.
Yes,
I
you
was
did.
like,
I
Cher
remember.
Jones. I know her. that was such that was such an amazing show, but that was such an amazing side of you for me that I was just like, okay, man, this gal is legit. She is legit. She's about her business, but she's extremely real, and she's authentic. She's herself. Doesn't matter who's in the room. Doesn't matter. That is the cool part. How do you? We have so many people out here who are afraid to be themselves, and we'll get into how they can
Mm.
how we can create a brand in a second, guys. We will. We surely
Mhm.
will. We have so many people that are just pretending to be something that they're not. What
Right.
what piece of advice do you have for people who are pretending to be something that they're not?
I think a lot of times it really has to come down to continue to put out content, because
Mm,
half the times is you're just not comfortable with your content yet, and you're not comfortable with being known for what you do and who you are. So what happens is we kind of pull in, because even like I am more comfortable today than I was 4 years ago, right? I am more comfortable today than I was 2 years ago. And it's the more you do it, the more you realize the world's not going to blow up when you make a mistake or say something, misspeak or something like that. You can come back and wheel and come again, and it's okay, right? And at the end of the day, when you get to the level where you're just comfort, and I know that is easier said than done, but
true.
keep pushing out your content, because what you'll see is like you'll start to sprinkle in flavorings of you. Because I'm not trying to tell people to rip off the band-aid and just be you, because
Yeah,
like
correct.
it's hard to be you. I remember when I was doing television work, I remember this producer said to me, he's like, you know what I love about you is like you've learned to be you on camera.
Yeah,
And at that point I realized it was a skill,
yeah,
and it takes time. So you got to push through it, push through the awkward, keep putting it out there. And eventually you see it with every creator. They
yeah,
just, it's like this awakening and
yeah.
becoming of who
Oh,
they are, but you got to push through the content. Your first content is not going to be you. And
yeah,
it
yeah,
just is that.
yeah. We had a buddy of mine. We talk about starting ugly. You got to start ugly. Like it's
Don't
a
even look at your first 10.
yeah,
Just
just
skip on past.
yeah,
Just
like with the
because you
face
can't even
like this.
evaluate
Yeah,
it.
you
Yeah.
can't. You
You can't
can't.
evaluate it because there's nothing to evaluate. You're at the point where you have to get used to, like, if you're creating something, you haven't got used to your writing style, your format, if you're on camera or you're doing your voice, you haven't got there yet. Give yourself time to breathe. You got to
Hmm.
do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, and then around 10, it's like, okay, what do I need to improve first? Because
Yeah.
there's going to be more than one thing.
It's, it's gonna be more than one thing. You got that
Yeah,
right. So, Mr.
what's
JP,
first?
yeah, Mr. JP says, "Share, we must connect. Personality brings traffic. The best organic way to build your brand. 100%,
Mhm,
100%. That's
mhm.
exactly what she's done." Hello, Laura. How are you? How are you doing,
Hello,
Laura?
Laura.
John says, I'm dangerous on the dance floor. I think I actually started. I said, Yeah,
Uh-oh, uh-oh,
you are
uh-oh.
dangerous on the dance. I don't know if I want to see that, John. I'm sorry. As much as I appreciate you, dude, I don't know if I want to see that or not. All right, so let's get into this idea. Let's get into this concept of personal brand, because
Mm,
I think there is just I mean, there's so much information out there. There's so many different people talking about it. There's so many courses you can take. So many
mhm.
gurus saying this is a personal brand. This should be a personal brand. What is Cher's definition of personal brand? This is why I brought you on the show.
Okay. So, like, and this is cliche, but facts is facts, right? So, your personal brand, really, what it boils down to is that experience people have with you,
Mm.
right? And then what they say when you're not in the room. The thing is, you have a tremendous opportunity to influence both the experience and influence the words that people say about you. Your personal brand comes with you when you show up on Zoom, it comes with you when you walk in the room, or it comes with you when they see your content. And what you want is this harmonious collection of you that represents you. And yes, you can leverage different social, for example, to showcase different sides of your personal brand. So LinkedIn, obviously that more professional side, but still try to be personally professional. Whereas Instagram or TikTok may have a completely different side of you should you choose to play on those networks. But at the end of the day, you got to make sure that one doesn't embarrass the other when it comes from a social perspective. But at the end of the day, one, in order to develop a powerful personal brand, you need to first own what makes you awesome. And a lot of people don't do that. They don't recognize what makes them awesome. And then they don't sift and sort to pluck out the best stuff, right? Because we can talk about a million things that make us awesome, but not all of it is relevant to your goals.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to pluck out the best that is relevant to your goals. And then from there, and this is where people start to say, they start to shift into, okay, social media. I got to do my logo. I got to make colors and this and that. But you cannot skip steps, right? You cannot skip steps. What you need to do is master your message first, because when you master your message, not only do you have the power of introducing yourself. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Cher, right? But you got to do it
You got me
so
about to rap over
well.
here, man. Stop
That's
it.
what I'm saying, right? But you've got to be able to introduce yourself in a way that not only do you have, especially in the professional realm, and that's where I focus, is that you have that professionalism, that credibility, but also that let me perk up and listen to you, right? But then that memorability, so that I can remember what you said about you. I know more about you. Or if you introduce yourself online first, which is these days, it's more common than not, is you're giving somebody the language to literally talk about you when you're not in the room, right? You are their best source for information, especially from a professional perspective. So how are you going to set the stage? How are you going to influence them? How are you going to motivate them to want to work with you, for you, or refer you, or champion you? You got to give them the language to talk about you. You got to set yourself up so when you walk in the room, everybody else knows your name like it's Cheers.
Mm. Mm. Here's the funny thing. Like I'm gonna have a copy of this video, but I'm still writing down notes. I'm like, hold on for a second. I'm actually gonna have a copy of this video that I can go back and look. But I do this on every video because there are just so many different things. Oh my gosh, how does someone master their message? Because I think that is, I know it's an iterative process, but I know you've been able to do that. Here's what just correct me if I'm wrong, because here's what I've seen about you, and I talked a little bit about it, is that I've seen you, when you were redoing your office. I'm not a stalker, I'm just a fan. I saw you when you were redoing your office, and then you were starting to bring in all the little tchotchkes, all those little things.
All the tchotchkes.
All the tchotchkes.
Do you look at the roller skates?
Yes. Yeah, the roller skates. The roller skates. And don't you have a boombox or something or whatever too?
Right by the roller skates.
Is it? Oh, there it is right there. There it is right there.
Storm is in front of it.
And I was sitting honestly in awe in the context of like, here is this dynamic woman, speaker, like she speaks all around the world. And here she is talking to us about salt and pepper and her boombox and her iconic poster. And she's just like, this is just me. But it also kind of weaves into your message, because here's the other thing that you always talk about. You always talk about remix your content. And I'm like, okay, that's nothing but I always want to do that whenever I hear you say that. But you've been able to, I feel, master your message. How can someone master their message, because I think that's also a missing element. And they want to be, I think a lot of people want to be someone else, or
Mhm.
they want to be what they think others want them to be. And I've struggled with leaders who have felt like that. So please,
Mhm. Mhm.
that's a long-winded question. So please,
No, but I get where you're coming from. So
yeah.
really what it is really when you figure out how you serve and who you serve best and what you want to do more of in service, it helps you narrow it down, right? So what I find with people, because what I tap into when I work collaboratively with my clients, and that's why none of my clients ever show up with the same message,
Mm,
because I'm listening to how they articulate what they do. And then I take that and help them just level it up because I'm listening and I'm hearing what they're saying. And in their language and in their words, I'm like, what you mean to say is this, but it has to sound like them. And for me, like I tap back into writing speeches, like for the mayor of Toronto, and then for a counselor, or for this and for that, and then and a director, and having to write in their voice. So coming back to why I bring this up is oftentimes you need to speak out your brand. So
mm,
what I do with my clients, I don't give them like a form to fill out and kind of go through this stuff. I interview each and every one of them,
mhm,
and I'm listening to find their awesome nuggets, their moments of how they phrase things, and
yeah.
they have to and pull it out. But before I can even pull out that awesome, I got to know what they want to accomplish.
Mm,
Right. So you got to get very clear on your goals, because your message has to drive the completion of those goals, the achievement of those goals. So it's a cross between allowing somebody to speak and just ask them, so what do you mean by that? And
mhm,
challenging them to get out of the corporate speak, which is a really easy way. I find excellent solutions and all those words that we see in brochures that mean absolutely nothing to anyone, and I could put anybody's name on it,
yes.
to what do you really do? How do you really help? And dig and dig. And I literally, that's what I do with my clients. I'm digging and I'm looking for the nuggets, and I'm like, got you. And
There it
then
is.
we record those sessions. Like I record that session so I can pull it out. And then it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, that is what I do. And that's how I would say it. Like, yes, winning.
Oh, so you have a couple of different things that I appreciate whenever I watch you live. You talk about the scroll stoppers, right?
Hmm.
And I love that. I love when you have that segment of your show. And I think a lot of people, and you actually highlight different people that you've actually looked at
Whoever
on their so
stops the thumb,
yeah, on their
that's who
social
gets the
media,
highlight.
and
I don't care who it is.
dude, this is a scroll stopper. Let me give you my scroll stopper. I have it. My stuff isn't that great, so I haven't made it on your scroll stopper yet. But I'm trying my best to
All
get on.
right.
Listen to
Step
me.
up, step up.
When I got to step my game up. I got to step my game up so I can be the scroll stopper. What makes because we talked about personal brand and getting yourself out there and all these different things and
Mm,
accomplishment, master your message, and I want to talk about being memorability too in a second here.
mm.
But what makes maybe this is the same question. What makes something a scroll stopper, and then how does someone leverage being a scroll stopper? Because it's one thing for you and as a person to kind of scroll down and
Mm.
stop, but I also think that there should be some call to action within that stop post as well too. Am
Mm.
I making sense here? Do you understand the direction I'm?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Sometimes, so ideally, like I'm looking for the ones that are the best, most dynamic post that has, you've immediately captured my attention, typically with that first line, because here's like what would make an automatic guaranteed scroll stopper for your audience specifically is a an opening caption that is about your audience, not about you. So many people start
Mm,
their post with "I was at," "I watched," "I read." No one cares what you did. Make it relevant. So ask them a question. Have you ever seen, are you excited about blah, blah, blah? Have you ever tried, or one of the things most people are challenged with is this, and then you pull in, now teach me something, show me something, share something with me, and then so like that's all in your caption. And then of course, how are you going to bring this opportunity to life? And sometimes it is through a picture, sometimes it's through a video, sometimes it's through like a headliner post, which is like an audiogram, it or a document, right?
Mm,
Whatever it is, it's like you got to first, no matter what, make it about your audience and not about you, even if it is about you,
mm,
right? Because the best post, especially from a personal brand perspective, is knowing how to slip you in, slip your credibility, slip your knowledge, slip that new experience that you want to share with the world, slip it in, but still make it about them first. If you can do that, then you master the art of branded content that actually is strategic and gets you closer to the goal,
mm,
right? And that's what you want. So there is no other than that piece of advice that I would give you, regardless of whether it's a scroll stopper or not. For me, scroll stoppers are not always like the perfect post. It's
mm.
like, why did this catch my attention? And what I try to do in that segment is break down where I see the strategy, whether that person was writing it with strategy. I look like, it's like I see dead people, I see strategy, right?
Yes, you
So
do.
I look at it and I try to give people the learnings from it and also advice so that they can recreate that and in their own relevancy, you know what I mean, whatever makes sense to their brand and their network.
Excellent. Now, your typical, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like your playground is really LinkedIn.
Absolutely, it's
It's really
100% LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And what's I here's the thing that I think some of my people struggle with, whether it's in the community or retail leaders or just leaders in general.
Mhm.
What makes a really good LinkedIn profile? Right.
Mhm.
I know that's a loaded question because that we could probably do a whole podcast on that one too, right?
Yeah.
But I've heard you talk, about different aspects of what makes a
Mhm.
LinkedIn profile perfect. Not perfect, but it's actually
Mhm.
something that
Mhm.
people want to stop and actually pay attention to. If you can, give us a couple of
Absolutely.
those nuggets as well.
So basically what you're saying is, so you want to be a click magnet, right?
Mm,
That's cool. So what you need to do when it comes to your LinkedIn profile, there's two more most important pieces: your profile picture and your headline. Those are the things that are seen by most people, and then followed up by your cover photo. So that's your background photo, right? Those are the three top things. That if you don't nail that, people are not even going to click through. And the only people that click through onto your LinkedIn profile are typically your target audience, the people who actually want to know more.
mm,
So that is where you get to really refine your message. So that headline, what people typically do is they just stick with their title, right?
mm,
And how do you stand out with just a title? You don't, right? So you need to bring in the value. You need to position yourself by leveraging keywords, perhaps a value statement, and letting people know right off the top what you do and how you serve. And why that headline is so important, although I recommend writing it after you've written your about section, which I'll get into in a second,
mm.
is the headline is what 95% of your connections will ever read, and that's it. No one's going to your LinkedIn profile. I know that sounds crazy. And it sounds like, so why should I even invest and bother? Because the people who actually do go to your profile, those are the people you actually want to have a conversation with in the
Mm,
first place.
mm,
Those are the people who are looking to find out what you bring to the table, why you're at this meeting, what you can do for them. And then here's where people get it wrong. They focus, especially in the about section, they use it as a glorified cover letter for the last job that they applied for, right? Having it updated. So what people do is they tend to position themselves as a job seeker when they're there for business. They're there in their role. So
Okay, hold on. Stop
stop.
there. Stop on that
Yes.
one. I got pit.
Oh,
Okay, hold it for a
stop.
second. That's a great one. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, you just blew my mind on that one.
Wait, I'm going to blow it even
Go
further.
ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Because People want to know what you do now, not what you did. The only people who care about what you did are the people who are reading your experience section. When's the last time you really read somebody's experience section, unless you were preparing to do an interview and you want to find out all the things that they've done in the past? No one cares. What they do care is what you do now and how you can help them, right? And then, of course, yes, they care from a credibility perspective of what you did in order to be so awesome at what you do. But the top half of your profile, so the about section and up, your featured section, all that kind of stuff, all that should focus on what you do now, not what you did to get the job, because no one cares. It's what you do now, because that is the language that people can communicate and advocate for you, champion for you, refer you, or imagine what it's going to be like to work with you or for you.
Oh my
Bars.
gosh.
Personal branding. Bars. Okay.
But just, I mean, like I'm, and I'm usually not speechless. Um, okay, I'll go to the comments. I gotta go to the comments. Because I got so many rabbit holes, but not rabbit holes. Good stuff. Casey, present and impact unintentionally. Go share. I appreciate that. Thank you, Casey.
Thanks, Casey.
Yeah, at a Coffee Talking Tech. Yes, about the people that support you first and then bring you. Okay.
Yeah.
Agreed.
You got to know, because you really
Yeah.
got to know who you're talking to and who you're serving. So I get what John is saying there, because you need to make sure that you're talking to that audience. And
Mm,
that's why it allows you. So your headline is a little bit more general, right? And but specific, but general. But your about section, that is your introduction. At
mm.
the end of the day, that one should, I prefer, and it's not rule, it's not law. I'm not going to get all, crazy about, be a zealot about this, but I prefer when I read LinkedIn profiles, especially the about section, when it's written in the first person, because
Mm.
it's an intro bio. It's not a third person bio that everybody knows you wrote anyway. So why are you introducing yourself in the third person? This is their chance to meet you, right? So it should be about how you help them and how you can, and what you've done in order to do what you do so well, right? So it's got to be like that.
Oh my god. I don't usually do that on my interviews, but I felt that was necessary. I felt, I felt that was
Underscore the point.
yeah, it really did. It just hammered it home. It just hammered it home. And then we have a good buddy of mine, Charles Jackson Smith. So good right there, Shell. But
Thank you.
John, what are you
Thank you.
talking about? Well, Charles, what are you talking about, man? I know I'm a little behind a little bit. I'm not too far behind, but I'm pretty good.
Yes,
People want to
people want
know,
to know what you
yes,
do now,
what you do
not what
now.
you did, what
Nobody
you
cares
do.
about that.
No
Nobody
one
cares.
cares. No one cares what you did until they know what you do. And
Yes.
that's the order of operations. And one of the best ways that you can start your profile is, because here's a mistake, especially in the about section. This is where people get intimidated. They don't know what to write. They haven't identified what their message is in the first place. And that's who I help leaders do that, right?
Yes.
But one of the things that you have to do is remember. So this is the biggest mistake that people make. So you're probably going to go back to your profiles, everybody watching, and be like, oh my gosh, I did that. So they immediately say, hi, my name is Cher Jones and I'm a social media trainer and I work with, blah, blah, blah. But that's what your headline says. So if my headline already says corporate social media trainer, personal branding expert and speaker, I work with blah, 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 blah. Why am I repeating myself in the first line? Why am I telling you my name when my name is on my profile? So what you now do, because you've given that information up front in your name and in your headline, you immediately start with your audience. So you can set the stage, because like I said before, the only people who are reading are the people who want to know more about you and what you can do for them. Right. So that's where you establish the mood. It's like you're setting the mood, and you talk about the problem,
Mm.
right? You introduce that problem that they're probably thinking about. It could be an industry issue. It could be like a very specific technical issue that you solve, whatever. It could be about leadership,
Mm.
right? And the problems around leadership. And then you bring yourself in. I could be talking right now. It's like, there are so many high potential leaders that are waiting for the tap, waiting for someone to say, You done good. Here's an opportunity to do something else. But here's the problem. There are so many people who have mastered their message and let people know what they do, that they're the ones getting the opportunities because they stand out and they're remembered. As a social media trainer, so now this is when I bring myself in. Do you see what I'm saying? So
Yes.
I've caught your attention. Figure out, how do you catch somebody's attention, right? Because they already know the basics. They already know the need to knows. Now let's get their attention with the problem that you address, that you solve, that you're working towards, that you're passionate about,
Mm,
and then you introduce yourself and your skills and how you help. And then once you've done that, and there may be other things that you do too that are, remixes of what you do, or runoffs, or, like the spin-off of what you do, and then, or the side of what you do, and you just connect the dots with your skills and expertise. But then once you've done that, letting people know how you can help them and what you can do to help them, then you can lean into, well, and here's why you can
mm,
trust me to do what I do. For the last 20 years, I've been working in corporate communications, PR, and broadcasting. I've worked with this company, that company. I've flown around the world, and I help leaders just like you develop a powerful personal brand that makes people want to work with you, for you, or champion you. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? Like, you
mm.
just,
Boom.
you bring it home, and that's it. See, listen,
Sorry,
I could
man.
do this all day,
I
every day,
know
because
you
I've
can, man.
been doing
You
this,
look
and
like
that's the
Captain
thing.
America. You look Captain America, Brandon. I could do this all day.
All day, all day. Anybody want to get out?
Anyone?
Winter Soldier.
Listen to
My
me.
favorite scene of
Exactly.
life.
Yeah, I can do this all. I actually like the
It's
one where
all
he's
day.
fighting himself on was it the end game, and he's fighting
Yeah.
himself and the guy hits him.
Hmm.
He says, I can do this all. He said, yeah, 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 I know.
I know.
I'm a Marvel fan.
Yeah,
I'm a
me
Marvel
too.
fan. How many of you, I'm trying to resist. I'm in the middle of an interview and connected with Cher. I'm trying to resist the temptation of going to my LinkedIn site right now, my LinkedIn profile, and change it as she's speaking. So I know without a shadow of a doubt that some of you are
Hmm.
like talking and listening, right? Listening to
And
us talk, and
looking.
then you guys are in your LinkedIn profile right now. If
Hmm.
you're not, please, you need to be. And Mr. Charles
Hmm.
says, this is it right here. He just
And
says
I'm telling
fire.
you, I'm bringing the goods.
And he
I
just
am bringing the goods today,
he
okay?
just
Because I
says
just want
fire.
people to win. At the end of the day, that's what it is. I
Yeah.
want you to win. I want you to crush it. I want you to create, like, because you are here. You're bringing, like, you have something to share to the world. There are things that you want to do more of. You don't need to be in a corner not noticed when you bring awesome. And I think a lot of people, like personal branding, some people think of it as bragging, and
Mm,
bragging is not a bad word if you can position it in service.
yeah.
Because, and so, yes, bragging feels like, especially a lot of especially within Black communities, like, we've been always told, don't brag, let your work speak for yourself. Guess what? Your work ain't talking,
No.
right? If you don't talk about it in the right way, and that's the difference, you will not get as many opportunities. I'm not saying that you're going to be like, just schlepping it and never getting anything, but create the opportunities. You have to create them, right? And you have to give people the language to talk about you, to champion you, to refer you. Like, you have to do it.
I
And
lo-
also, you
yeah.
have to inspire people, right?
Mm,
Motivate people to want to work with you and for you.
mm. Okay. I'll get to the comments because you just dropping some heat right now, man. If I had hair right now, I would literally be bald right now because that's how
Love
much
it.
heat you dropping, man. Anna, how you doing, Anna? I agree with you, Cher. Lots of ideas given. LinkedIn definitely has a different approach. Absolutely,
Mhm,
absolutely,
mhm.
absolutely. You're right, Steve. She's an old soul in like intelligent way.
So John
Absolutely,
probably
man.
thinks I'm like, I'm in my 30s, and I'm closer to 50 than I am to 40. So old soul. Hmm.
Here's this one. Here's this one, and I would buy one too. I have that same shirt.
Chase the dream, not the fame. That's right. I had to. It was that this shirt was like irresistible to me. I had to buy it. It was so dope. So
Yeah, I thought you were gonna rock your. I was this close. I was on the line, and I saw a Coca-Cola rugby shirt, and I was
mhm.
about to buy it. And I remember you didn't you have a Coca-Cola shirt or
Oh, I was
something?
where you know what? It's so funny because these were my three options. Like I'm not even this
That's
is not
funny.
a lie, right? So it was this shirt, the Coca-Cola shirt, or my Dragon Ball Z shirt.
See,
It was
see.
one of the three. And I was like, you did a video on that one. You did a video on that one. This one hasn't been on video yet, so that's why it went out. That's the only reason why. Vanity. Vanity. I'm telling you.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. And then Charles says, "Okay, Cher, let's work together to get my profile in order."
All right.
I will have her information. I will have all of her information. She'll give it to us at the end as well too. So I'm quite sure there's going to be quite a few people who are going to want to connect with you. Connect with you.
So
So he's headed to her site. Yeah, man. I hashtag just ask Cher.
yeah.
Hashtag.
Just
I'm
just
telling
connect
you.
with me on LinkedIn. And
Yeah,
that's
man.
really, or I'm on Instagram too. See, and that's the thing is like while LinkedIn is my home, it is a professional home for your personal brand. I use Instagram not as much to promote myself, which I could. It's just more of a capacity issue more than anything else. I use it to build relationships, and for me, I look at Instagram like the golf course, right?
Mm,
In business, in the sense that I get
mm.
to build relationships with people. I don't have to talk about business all the time because, as you can see in this context, I can talk about this stuff all day, but people don't want to hear about it all day. It's contained to a podcast. It's contained to like, it's like contain me. Right. So because
Excellent.
I literally could, because I am that passionate about it and I know what I know and I do what I do
And you do
and I
what you do.
do it well.
Yeah, you
And
do.
I'm not here and like, yeah, I'm not like, this is not me like blowing my own horn. I'm good at what I do. And I love more than anything else is for my clients to win. When they master their message, I was working with one today and it was like, we nailed, like when I say nailed it, I'm like, ooh, Mufasa, Mufasa, Mufasa. This is good. So good. So good.
You
Like
got me
it was just
dropping out
like
of camera. You got me dropping out of frame, man. I got to keep it together, Professor, because you dropping so much stuff, man. And you making me laugh. And then on a
I
pure
need to get a
strategy
show,
share.
okay? I
Yeah,
need to get like some traditional. That's my next goal, by the way. So anybody watching who has a connect, get me. I need to host a show. I think that's where one of the things I want to do next is a part of my offering of share is I need gosh damn show. Yeah,
like
that's
what?
what I'm
What
saying.
do you mean? What do you mean? Expound
I
upon that.
want to have like a traditional media digital platform. So when I say
Mm-hmm.
traditional media, so whether it's CNN, BNN, CNBC, something like that, but on their digital networks, I want to host something. I want to host something that has something to do with, maybe something to do with personal branding would be great, but
Mm,
like really understanding the people behind the brands, understanding business, like having these conversations. I want like, and it's more, maybe it's a vanity thing because I mean I could do that right now, like
mm-hmm.
we're doing right now.
Right.
But I want to, I guess because of my journalism background as well, my broadcasting background, I want it's like being published by, Random House or
Right.
Penguin.
Right.
Like I want it not my own, Amazon digital publishing, that kind of stuff. No, I want the big boys to say, yes, yes,
And you got
share.
the title already. Just ask share.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, you got the title already.
That's what I'm saying.
I
Just
mean,
put me up. Put
seriously.
me in, coach. Put
Put
me
me in,
in.
coach. Put me in, coach. Charles,
I'm so ready for
masterclass,
TV.
masterclass in session right now, Steve Worthy. 100%, man, 100%. Now you guys understand why for me I kept at her. Steve, I'm taking the summer off. I'm like, whatever, Cher. Like, I'm gonna get with you in the fall somehow, but you're gonna connect with me. We're gonna get on the show. The quote is consistent. It's
Constant
constant
reminder for me.
reminder of me.
Yeah.
That's right, man. That's
Mm-hmm,
right.
mm-hmm,
That's
mm-hmm,
right.
mm-hmm,
That's
mm-hmm.
right. Charles, yes. Capacity issues, different approaches. Agreed, man.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yep.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
Mm-hmm.
God. Okay. I tried to keep this to an hour. So and I wrote down all these notes or whatever, but I'm not even gonna because honestly, I need you back. I need you back.
Okay.
So we can go a little deeper
Mm-hmm,
on
mm-hmm,
some of these
mm-hmm.
topics because I think everybody's getting some super value out of this. But I
That's
do have
great.
the two can questions that I typically ask, right?
Okay.
So one of the questions that we have leaders, a lot of people that are listening to this or listening to this on the replay, they are the leaders. They're fast paced. They're going from project to project, opportunity to opportunity, but they don't take the time to slow down. And one of the things I
Mm-hmm.
often ask myself is like, what's important now, Steve? And that just kind of centers me and makes sure that I'm focused in on the right thing. So I always like to ask
Mm-hmm.
my guests the same thing, like, what's important now to share?
Um, One of the things that I've found in this current journey of life is just recentering. I mean, for me, I'm a Christian, so my faith is really
Man.
important for me, and really stepping back and like stepping into the Word and grounding myself in the Word, especially like as you get really busy, and things are changing, and statuses change and people change and all that kind of stuff. It's like you can, when all that busyness is there, you can grab hold to something that never changes. So for me, that right now, especially, I'd say over the last, for everybody, over the last like 18 months or so, I've had to really ground myself in something that's never changing, and that's God, that's Jesus for me. So
Mm,
that, I know I went all spiritual, but that I
that's
can't,
okay.
that's me, right?
That's
I'm
it.
unapologetically me, and that's where I have to go.
That's
And so
good.
that's what I do.
What's and I listen to me, man, and I'm on the same journey with you as well. So I completely understand that. I think if faith without works is dead, and I think what we're talking about is putting our faith into action and making sure that we're actually walking in what God has called us to do, right? And I think once
Right.
you do that, there's a different level of boldness that you have, because at the end of the day, it's not about you, right? And you know that
Exactly.
you know that you can't do it, within your own might, within who you
Exactly.
are. You just can't.
You can't. And this is, for me, when I look at what I do and why I'm so passionate about what I do and why I feel like it's a gifting for me, is because I get to help other people own their awesome. And we spend
Mm,
so much time at
mm,
work. We spend so much time serving people, and God's given us these gifts and talents to be able to do that. And that's how the world is going around. So, what I get the privilege and honor of doing is really helping someone. And I call your awesome is like, that's your gift.
yeah,
That's your gifting in
yeah.
this. And we have multiple gifts. So at work, these are your gifts that you get to serve with. And if you can do more of what you love and get recognized for it, to God goes the glory. And so I get to help people own their awesome. And that awesome is their gifting. And that's
Mm,
exciting for me.
mm. What's second can question and the last question I
Okay.
have for tonight? What's one thing you wish you had known before
Mhm.
you began your career?
That you're better than you think you are.
Mm,
And I know that sounds like really arrogant, but it's not, because I was somebody who lived in not feeling good enough. And I still battle that sometimes. Like everybody, you step, new levels, new devils, right? So you step into a new arena, and all of a sudden you're looking, you got the comparisonitis, and you're looking around, you're like, oh, I don't have that many followers, or I don't have this, or whatever, or I'm not as good as that. And it's like, you're better than you think you are.
mm,
And I needed to get grounded and rooted into who I was, and not allowing, whether it's the inner voices, the things that come with you from childhood, those wounds. It's like, do the work. When you
mm,
do the work on yourself, you get to open up and really become closer to what you're created to be.
mm.
But it requires work. It requires the digging. It requires opening things up, and examining the why, examining and like taking that brokenness and becoming whole. And it requires the work. So, like, you're better than you think you are. And every single one of my clients, they have their own Dorothy moment.
Mm.
Whereas, like, literally, it was in you all along, Dorothy. It was in you all along, right?
Exactly.
And they just didn't see it. But sometimes, and that's why the beauty of my work is really being able to shine a spotlight on somebody's awesome, and then help them articulate it in a way that is like, literally take their awesome and turn it into a message
Mm.
that opens doors and opportunities, and it allows them to step into more of who they were meant to be.
Okay, I just said it right. Like I said, I'm gonna have the video, but I gotta write this down. You turn your awesome into your
Into a
message.
message. Yeah.
I think here's the cool part is that, and I truly appreciate you, jumping on the podcast a while ago. And guys, if you haven't listened to that episode, it's a podcast where I asked several people to tell the younger self something that they really wanted to know. And the cool part, Cher, it's exactly kind of what you just talked about. I remember you were saying that, give yourself the opportunity for others to say no. Or
Mhm.
here's the thing, you may not know if they're going to say no. They may say
Mhm.
yes, but
Mhm.
you haven't even given them the opportunity to say no.
Exactly.
Oh my
And
gosh.
that is huge because so many people won't even ask because they think, oh, they're going to say no. Why
Yeah.
don't you give them a chance to say no?
You didn't give them a chance. Why give them a
You didn't give
chance?
them a chance, right? And then because you don't know what they're really going to say, or you don't know what you can get out of that no,
Mm,
right? Now, because sometimes they are going to say no, but you put yourself on the map,
yeah.
right? And if your brand reflects you're awesome, you will not be forgotten.
And John, thank you, John. Can't go wrong with centering your faith. A
Yeah,
hundred
you
percent.
can. You
A hundred
have to
percent.
center.
A hundred
It's
percent.
just.
100%. Oh
Mhm.
man, I can go all day, but I want to be respectful of your time. Where can everybody find you? I know I'm going to put everything in the notes, but I just really want
Yeah.
people to kind of connect with you because I truly appreciate you first and foremost for coming here and giving me your time. I have thoroughly enjoyed it, as I knew I would. We could have gone deeper into hip hop, but I think we'll save that for another situation, another
For
opportunity.
sure.
But once again, thank you so much for being here and adding value to all the people that are going to be hearing this live, but also the people who are going to be listening to this and looking at this actually on the replay, if you will. Tell everybody where they can connect with you at.
Definitely the number one spot is on LinkedIn. I'd love for you to connect with me there first. And I also always recommend people, instead of sending them to a website, send them to where you are most active or where you think that person is most active. The reason why, it gives you that opportunity to connect. So connect with me on LinkedIn. So you'll see the follow button, but if you press the little button, there's three little dots. You'll open it up and it will say connect. You can also reach out to me on my website, sociallyactivetraining.com. But like I said, and I'm also on Instagram and I'm on Facebook. You literally, Google Cher Jones, you'll find me. Trust me.
That's
But
true.
my name on Instagram is ITS Cher Jones.
Excellent. Well, stay in the green room for me for a second as well
Mhm.
too. I just appreciate you coming on. Thanks so much. Appreciate you. Everybody, here's what I want to leave you with. If you weren't taking notes, you should have been. I know you can go back and look at the video. But the one thing I want to leave you with is how to turn what she said. Turn your awesome into your message. Understand why you exist. Understand what's important about yourself. And if you don't do that, man, take the time to do it today. Please also make sure you connect with Cher Jones on LinkedIn, on IG. She can help you. Here's how she can help you. Not by just doing a one-on-one session, but just listening to whatever it is that she's talking about on her YouTube live stream as well. So make sure you go ahead and do that. And as we always say, have a great night and God bless.